Are we live? Are we live? It seems that we are live. I'm doing a sound check here. I'm going to try to use my vocal range for a second. I don't see the video. I don't know that we're live. Okay, there it is. All right, we're live. And I'm using my monitor audio, and I'm not using my green screen today. So we won't get the annoying feedback at the beginning of the episode when I hear that we're live because I'm doing a sound check. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm not. Oh, actually, you know what? Forget it. We'll come back to that. Okay. But first, the music. The music. And as we know, as we've learned in previous episodes, if we don't talk over the music at least a little bit, we will get a copyright strike almost every time. So I don't think we would get a copyright strike for this one, but I really don't know who's monetizing what. Anyway, we'll get to the episode in just a minute. But first, the music. Let's see, I want to make sure the audio levels are right. Wait a minute. You can't hear it at all. Can't hear it at all. Hold on. You have to hear this song. It's no good if you can't hear it. I could hear it. That was awesome. Thank you, cover band, for covering Aphex Twin so well. I have heard a lot of Alberta Balsam covers. What you can't see, what's happening right now, is my right-hand screen here is turning on and off. I didn't realize that this was going to be a problem. It did this once when I sat down, and I thought I jiggled the cable and made it better, but I think it's my thing. My I don't know what you even call this display link adapter, the thing that takes the Mac, which can only support one single display, one single external display, and wrangles it to support two somehow. So I'm probably going to have to switch screens here, and I'm probably going to have to disengage that one, and it may interrupt the stream. I'm going to do it right now. I apologize if anything goes wrong, but I can't work this way. I didn't think it was going to be like this. Maybe this will be the only thing that goes wrong this episode. That would be really surprising, though. Okay, now it's the only screen that's working. Can we be seen now? Wait a minute. Why? That's very unusual. I thought the other one was the display link, but I just turned off the display link, and now I only have one blinking screen, which has all of my windows on it. So I'm going to try to put that back the way it was. Then what we're going to do, we're just going to unplug that screen. Hopefully it's the right one. Nope. Try the other one. All right. We're going to unplug that screen. We're going to... Jeez, I think my levels are off because I see I'm going up into the red here. I'm going to try to adjust this so that it's not so high. I thought I would not be speaking. Maybe it's because I have the monitor headphones on. I can't hear myself through them anyway, so I'm not sure why I need them. Except for the music. And now that the music is done, I just have to figure out how to get my mouse to move naturally between the screens again, because it's not doing it. Here we go. This is down here. Like about there. Great. Now I can go back and forth between the screens. Cool. Okay, so we're going to work on not this desk. Not... Which desk are we on here? I don't know where that window is, but it's not on any of my screens. So I assume that is bad. Wait a minute. Okay. We've got this desk. We've got this desk. I don't want to move anything. Wait a minute. Over a desk. Full screen camera. Yeah, so you see I'm not using the green screen today because I'm wearing a green shirt. I thought the whole shirt would interact poorly with it, but it really turns out only these letters do. So welcome to Sunkworks. What? I don't understand why do we see that? Maybe I can turn the other screen on? No. Properties. Display capture. Not that one. No, I want this one. There we go. Alright, now this is the screen that I want. It's just way too big. So we'll bring it down to size. Get rid of the other one. We don't want that one. We want this one. Then make it fit. All right, I think we can start now. All right, so it's episode 70, and it's called "It's Greek to Me." because we're talking about Git, for one. Oh man, this window is gonna... See, the scroll is all slow. I don't know if it's because we're playing the video that we're streaming out. Maybe it would be better. No, it's really not better. Well, it's marginally better. All right. Isn't this really cool? Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be able to work like this. Maybe we have to use the other screen here. I think this is going to be okay. Wait. Oh no, we have a mismatch between our desired aspect ratio and our actual aspect ratio. Okay, so I'm just gonna move. I'm gonna move my little bottom thing until it's just big enough that I can't see it. Here, there, and then I'll keep things on the screen. Yeah, can I be seen again? I guess that works. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some things about Git today. I apologize if I'm a little less coherent than usual. I brewed some non-alcoholic beer, and I don't know how non-alcoholic it actually is. I've been sampling it for the afternoon while I work through a few things that I had to get done, and I'm feeling pretty good. But it's supposed to be non-alcoholic beer. So hopefully it's not going to interfere too much with what I'm trying to share with you. Okay, so y'all have seen, if you're new to Sunkworks, you haven't seen, but y'all have seen before my array of clusters. I have these ones with the short names are all V clusters, Moo, Mop, V cluster, and then the ones with the long name, Harvey here, is our super admin cluster that's supposed to drive all the other clusters. It's a virtual cluster, not to be confused with vCluster. We are running Cozystack, so we have access to KubeVirt, which means we can build virtual machines and put whatever operating system we want on there, or we can run Kubernetes in the supported way with Ubuntu-based virtual machines. And Talos itself is running on the top level, running all the cluster nodes, which are behind me. And you can see there's Talos behind me. So what to what end? What do we do with this? Well, we run a lot of stuff that we wouldn't be able to run otherwise, because Cozystack is awesome, and it runs not just a lot of stuff, but actually my website here. You can see this lovely website I built. I built with the help of a friend who did most of the work, the actual content creation work. I'll show you the website really briefly. Urmanac.com. Yeah, so this is more than one friend did a lot of the heavy lifting for this. There's a wiki that runs on Urbit, and on the wiki we have created the Urbit Encyclopedia. So you can see all of these nice app tiles that tell you about different apps you can run on Urbit. And we haven't really built the community around this yet, so it's not really up to date all the time. But you can see there are a lot of apps. So one person keeping it up to date, kind of difficult proposition. So we really need to build that community around this if it's going to be a thing. And a lot of the apps go in this broken category, and then there's apps we're not so sure about. And it's a major pain for me to move things around here because we haven't really templated all these things properly in the sense of a CMS. Like there's just this manual HTML page where these things are put together. And in fact, this is almost all HTML. There's a little JavaScript somewhere to load. I think it's this page actually. one of the pages. But all the links should work, and it loads fast, and some of the links don't work right, but all the content is relatively accessible. But more importantly, it runs. And how does it run? I'm sorry, I'm really it's warm in here, and I'm spinning. My laptop is going crazy. You can probably hear the fan through the microphone, and it's an M1 Mac, so it doesn't usually run the fan. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm assuming it has to do with me streaming. So there's two pods that run this website, and they run two different spin apps. And I don't know if you can see that here. How would we see that? Here, SpinCube. So they're orchestrated by SpinCube. So there's a WASM module that includes all the HTML for the website, and it sorry, I'm having a little difficulty talking. I don't know if it's related to the beer I brewed, but something, a little tickle in my throat. Okay, so what we said we're going to do today, we're going to talk about Git. We're not really going to talk about Spin, but we're going to talk about Git through a lens of some actual work that we have to do. I think actually, instead of all the stuff that I had planned for today, I'm just going to focus on the one thing that I think you need to hear most, and that is about Git and how to use Git. So let me bring up my agenda document here. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, so I was already hedging at the beginning here. I don't know if that you can see that zoom or not when I do that zoom in thing. Does that affect the camera? No, it does not. All right. So I said last time, I said what we would be doing in the next episode is installing Cozystack on AWS. Well, there is a blog to support that, but I'm not ready to do it yet. I'm personally not ready. I have more things to do first. What I want to do first is upgrade to Cozystack 0.31. I want to try... I actually want to try 0.32 because it's not out yet, but there is a containerd upgrade that I only know about because I read the Spiegel blog. And this one is coming in the next release of Talos, which I assume we'll get in the next release of Cozystack. So you need containerd 2.10, 2.1.0 to get the next thing. Here, what is the next thing exactly? Content events, advertisement of layers. Previously, Spiegel wouldn't be notified about new layers until the entire image had been pulled. So a lot of development right now is happening around the idea of making image pulls faster. There are a lot of different angles, a lot of different spins on this problem, if you will. You have your seekable OCI. You have StarGZ on the other side that's a little bit more compatible with everything outside of the AWS world. And you have Spiegel. And they kind of attack the problem from opposite, sometimes orthogonal ways. So in theory, you should be able to use Spiegel together with StarGZ. Spiegel out of them is the only one that does not require any special treatment of your images. But Spiegel is also the one that will not work for us on EKS auto mode, which is what I'm doing at work. I'm using EKS auto mode, and so that's not going to work for me, unfortunately. But on the Talos cluster, we can definitely do it here. If we go to the Spiegel docs, you see in the guides where, no, maybe in getting started. Here we've got options. Wait a minute. How do you get... yeah, so EKS tells you you can use it, but not if you're using... It doesn't say it here, but I spoke with Philip, and it won't work if you're using EKS auto mode because you don't control the node template, so there's no way for you to do this, which is important. So, but if you're using Talos, you can do that. You can certainly do that, and we can do that with Cozystack. We can configure anything we want because Cozystack and Talos are open source, and we can rebuild them. So I was hoping we'd do a rebuild today. You should know that I'm a maintainer of Flux in Cozystack. So when there's a new Flux operator release, I pull it in, and I keep track of the version pin, so we pin to a minor release of Flux, since that's what most people want. But I do something else on my local installation, and I'm going to have to scroll down quite far to find where I've been doing this, because I haven't done it since about May something. It's in here, I'm sure. We're looking for the branch that I created. Here we go. There's two branches. We're going to rebase them. And we're going to learn something about Git rebase. How do you, first of all, how do you read a Git commit tree to know what type of rebase is the one that you probably want? And it's kind of a dark art, if you will, to pick the right rebase. It's something I think you need some experience in order to do. So, as we've learned on Sunkworks, when you learn something new, you're going to have some experiences. They are not all going to be ideal. Learning when to cut and run is part of the whole Sunkworks ethos and pathos. How do we do things? Well, we aren't always going to do it the hard way. That's the short version. All right, so I'm going to show you some tricks to make this easier. First of all, how do I get this lovely commit graph, and what is the meaning of this commit graph? How does it differ from what you probably have done? Which I'll show you what you can do now. If you have Git installed, you can do git log one line graph, and you'll see all the commits that came before this one. All right, but what you won't see I'm running this command git l, which is a special command. We're going to look at my git config in a minute to see how do I do this. What was that branch called? Do we have it in another terminal here? Here, spin only, custom matchbox profile. Okay, so if I page up and down through here, look for those, I won't find them because they're not a parent commit of the commit that I'm on, the main branch. They haven't been merged. So this is the type of thing that you won't find unless you're doing development, right? I have a branch that hasn't been merged. That's the one I need to look at. So we've got two branches actually. So what we want to do is take all these commits and replay them in place over the new main branch. And what I actually want to do, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I had some notes in here about what is it we're going to learn. Here you can see what are we learning. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to need that git-l command so we can see the branch histories that are siblings, but um, not in a parent commit, not part of our current ancestry, branches that haven't been merged. Those are the ones we're interested in. So if you don't have a way to view those alongside of the other branch, you're going to have a bad time. In fact, I don't know how anyone learns how to use Git because some of this stuff is so arcane. It's so arcane. Okay? Here's my Git config. Okay, and you can see some of my alternate identities. The one I'm using today is my urbanhack.com identity. That's usually what I use to contribute to open source because I can't contribute to open source through work, unfortunately. It's not in the contract. It's nobody's fault. All right, so you can write yourself a git config like this one. Let's see. What is there in here that is important? You may need the default branch to be set, but Git is going to help you with that. It'll probably tell you the first time you create a new Git repo that you should set the default branch to something sensible. This merge and pull options, these are things that I think are important. I'm not going to explain why, but if you follow along, you'll understand why pretty quickly, I hope. Git-l is the main one here, and you can create aliases. So why is this so big? How are you going to remember all this? Well, you're not. You're going to copy it. I'll show you where you can copy it from. You can see my dot files here. One of these dot files is my git config, and it is a little out of date, but it has the git-l command in it. Here, I think there's another branch that is more current. For fun, make a clone of my dot files and figure out which branch is the most current. Use the git-l command to do it. The good news is that I copied and pasted this from somewhere. I didn't develop it myself, and I have never changed it a single character. So presumably you can find this for yourself somewhere else. At some point, maybe I will overtake the SEO for that person, but this is your Git full history graph that shows you branches, sibling branches, all pretty printed with this lovely format. And I don't know how they come up with this or what this means, but it lets you see this information, which is what we need. We need to see what was the last commit in the main branch that we were based on, and how do we relate to the other commits. And we've got a single straight line of commits here. We've got custom matchbox profile as a single offshoot of this second to last commit, and then we've got a different fork that is the spin only branch here. I think there's something about drinking a beverage that has had live yeast in it recently. I'm not used to drinking fresh beer. I think that's what's affecting me more than anything, not any light amount of residual alcohol, although I don't have any way to measure the gravity of the beer, so I really don't know how alcoholic or non-alcoholic it is, but it's certainly not very alcoholic, and it tastes good. Anyway, I'm losing focus here. I don't know if we're going to make it. Please, let's make it. Okay. So let's get this all on one screen. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. What is that? I don't think it likes to be resized here. I think that's the problem. Okay, so you can see that we've gone through a couple of versions already. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to squash some of these because they change the same thing multiple times. Well, actually, no. We're gonna start with rebase, pull rebase. We're gonna see the easiest rebase and why we probably don't want that one today. That's, I think, the best way to explain this information. So these two branches here, one of them has only a single extra module, only so tail scale and spin are talos extensions, or external drivers that you can load into your talos image so that they come with the read-only file system that drives the whole operating of the system. So we've got an image that we build with the normal Talos plus Cozystack stack, and we add onto it the spin module. And then we've got another separate fork where we have, in addition to that, we have the tail scale module. I use the spin module to run my website. I use the tail scale module to allow me to access the pod and service subnets inside the cluster. And in a pinch, to access the rest of my network. But usually I have another tail scale exit node that runs on my file server that isn't part of this Kubernetes cluster. So I could do this type of cluster work remotely without worrying that the cluster node is going to go down and I'm going to lose my connectivity and not be able to finish. So, but I'm in the house today. Let me see. I should probably get off the screen here because at some point I'm going to forget that I'm taking up some of the screen. And you won't be able to see something that's important. Okay. So if we want to rebase this, what are we doing exactly? We're going to take our commits and we're going to move them to the latest main. So that it's as if we had done our commits on the latest main. It's going to result in some strange timeline. We can see there's already some strange timeline here. There's a commit that comes later that's dated earlier. That sometimes you get when you do a lot of rebasing. Later we're going to remove some of these commits. We're going to simplify this branch. But we'll see in a minute why that might be important. Excuse me. Just a moment. Okay. All right. So this is the rebase you probably know. And I'm going to add a capital S for sign because I want my rebased commits to be signed like the original commits were. Which means I have to sign them. All right, and first thing we get is a bunch of conflicts here. And so these are generated files. They're generated by this script, which doesn't have any merge conflict. And you can see they point at a spin version and a tail scale version. So my intuition says I should edit these so they're current. That's what I would like to do now. But I will skip ahead and tell you that what's going to happen if I proceed this way is I'm going to create a new merge conflict, and I'm going to have to resolve this merge conflict over and over again, which I don't want to do. Okay, so if you've ever done this, you know what this is like. We're going to abort our rebase. We're going to see a better way to do it. We will have a merge conflict to resolve, but it should be only one. Okay. So we've got our spin-only branch checked out. We've got our parent commit on the main branch. Git rebase onto. Okay. And onto is a strange command. We need a from and a to. Okay. You understand what this is yet? we're going to rebase from this parent. So we're going to snip right here, this red line. And we're going to rebase onto this commit, which might have moved by now. No, it didn't. Okay. So we're going to rebase from that commit onto main. We don't need to refer to the commit by commit hash. We can just refer to it by the local branch. Okay. And we do still get a merge conflict. But what we don't get is a merge conflict for every commit between the commit that we snipped and the commit that we join again at. It's like cherry pick for your Git branch, which if you're not familiar with cherry pick, that won't really help understanding. But if you are, hopefully that just tied it all together for you. Now you know how to use this, or we'll see in a second anyway. So I do want to look up the latest talos extension for each of those. We can use the whole screen because my face is not on it. Let's see, where are the versions for these extensions? I know they're kept somewhere. Here, container runtime, spin, vars, spin version. Alright, so the spin version is still 0.19. Spin, what's happening at spin, huh? Ooh, it looks like maybe Talos isn't keeping up with the spin releases. Maybe? Not 100% sure. Oh, this one was back in March. So actually it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved in a while. That's interesting. They're still doing active development. Maybe they're working on another major version. Who knows? I'm not really following spin development. If you're a spin developer, I'm sorry. I'm just using your software. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I'm pretty sure everyone... Spin Pro? What the hell is that? That's got to be something else entirely. Server side up. Oh yeah, this is a different thing. So this is not the spin we're talking about here. Also spin 3 for some reason. Okay. Maybe there's some spin music we can get later on. Okay, so we know that's the latest spin version. Tailscale is in a different directory. There is network directory here. Tailscale version is 1.8.4. I think that's the version we have here too. Okay, so we can bump this one at least. We want these bumped here. And what we're going to do is, instead of trying to make all of these correct, neither of them are correct because a lot of these images have moved. Our spin images have moved, so we're just going to regenerate them. And that entails reaching out and fetching the latest version of everything. So we're going to get the latest Talos version with all of the modules, all of the kernel modules, all of the extensions that are required. And I have not tried to submit this upstream because I couldn't find a way to find the latest spin and tailscale version programmatically. I'm sure there is such a way, but they were both formatted differently, and I said, oh no, and I gave up. I'm pretty sure we could use YQ to fetch them out of those files we just saw. But, all right. Now, if you look in those dot files, there's a list of aliases that you'll see what this means. Got a dot file alias. We got a ZSH branch in here? I think so. Kingdom B. 4 years ago. I don't think that's the latest one. Maybe it's this Yebyan branch here? No, also 4 years ago. Oh man, we could really use this tool. Let's see. Perhaps I haven't saved my dot files since I got this new job. I'm really under a lot of stress, but some of it is self-imposed and some of it is overanalyzing. I'm sure there's no reason why I can't publish my dot files, but basically anything that goes on my work laptop, I have to treat with white gloves and think carefully about whether I can publish it or not, because I work now somewhere that has restrictive policies about open source. Anyway, it stands for Git Rebase Continue. That's what we're doing here. Okay. And now we do have another, what is this? Yeah, so we're going to go with the tag that we built. We're going to build another tag that goes over this. And if you look at each and every one of these commits, we have changed out the registry from that one to this one. So we get our own image. We're going to build another latest tag. And that SHA-256 is going to change. But not just yet. Git rebase continue. Okay. And we have to do this again because we changed this multiple times and now there's a conflict. But we can just run that script again. Okay, and this is the spin only, so that's why there's more than one commit, because first we add the tail scale module, then we take it out. Okay. I think that should be the last. Yeah, that's our last merge issue. Okay, so if we had dragged these commits along all of the changes, we would have gotten a new merge conflict every time that we hit a change in that file. Which is presumably more times than we want to do this. Okay, so we're going to check this out. This is going to be our new base for the other one. And that was the tail scale. Custom matchbox profile. Okay. Git rebase that onto prebase and sign it. Okay. Look at that. We've got our commits. We don't need that. And we can go ahead and build our new images now. Okay? Upstream. Upstream is upstream. Origin. Trying to remember which one is the one that I own. Trying to make sure my dog is okay. I heard her doing some funny breathing. I think she's dreaming. I think she's dreaming. I'm going to talk a little quieter. If you don't know, the force with lease is a safer version of force. Here we're going to see upstream hasn't moved in a couple of days. Okay. Cool. Alright, so how do we build this? I know it's a little bit tricky. I have built it a few times. It didn't come out very well. I think the trick is to clear this out directory first, so that you get an error if you try to build from those assets that are stale. You should get an error if you're doing things in the wrong order. I think that there's CI for this to make this easy. I think there's a single entry point, because why wouldn't you have a single entry point? But I think I have the correct invocation in my Git history. Sorry, in my bash history. It starts with make update. Okay, so we've already run this, so there should be no difference. Good. Okay. History 0 because I'm running ZSH, so you can't just run history and get all the history. Make update. Where is that command? Here. Oh, well, we pulled it out of our Git history, and now it's our shell history, and now we can't use that as a breadcrumb. Make assets. Here we go. These are the commands I want. We start with make assets, then we run, I think we can get away with just these three. And then we make a Cozystack image, right? Prechecks talos installer. Now, make assets. Need a Docker. Orb stack is a nice quick one. It's already ready. Okay, so we're building on the latest Talos image, the latest stable Talos image. I think that error is okay. I've seen it before. It never caused any problems. All right. So where are we at? Where are we at in the list of things that I said we'd do today? Well, we haven't talked about the news. I think that's probably for the best. We said we would probably upgrade some machines and reboot them. Something's going to go wrong as well. So let's look at the cluster while we're waiting for the image to build. We can see how many machines we have. Here, this is what's on the screen behind me. This is the Talos dashboard. You can see I have some nodes running 1.9.5. There is a floating VIP that the control plane uses to advertise itself. Only one control plane node responds to that at a time. But the others are ready to pick up where it left off if it should go away. So we'll make that the first one we reboot. All right. So in rough order of precedence here, we build the assets first. We build the image. We make sure that we have the latest image version tagged and loaded in our actual Docker, because BuildKit doesn't always load it. It runs in a, I don't know what you call it, a builder, I guess. That's a separate context, so it has to export its image before you actually have it in the local Docker images. So we can see Docker images. We can see the last time I did this, the images that I created are up here somewhere. Here we go. And we can see the one we're working on now. Right, so we're going to make one called Cozy Spin and one called Cozy Spin Tail Scale. We're going to push them both. We're going to make a matchbox image that has only this one. We don't want the tail scale module on every node, because when you install an extension, it expects to be running. It expects to be working. And if you don't configure tail scale on every node, then some of them will not be ready. Okay? And if you do configure tail scale on every node, then you'll have multiple tail scale nodes in the same subnet, and you don't want that either. No licking, doggy. Stop licking. All right, so we made our assets. Make Talos init ramfs, Talos kernel. Here, I think actually this is what we want. We want this set of commands. Okay, so I'm gonna take that and run them one by one. So now that we have the assets, all of these things should work. They need to run in order because init ramfs and kernel go in to make the image. We see we've got spin only. So this will be our spin image. And okay, make image-talos comes next, then Docker pull. So make image-talos I think actually does push. That's why we're pulling, because the container registry will have it before we have it loaded. That's just how this works. I think in the CI we actually don't care if we get a local copy, but in our case we do, because we need to re-tag it and push it with a specific tag. All right, so there's our installer going into the Talos image, getting pushed. Going pretty fast. This is Docker Hub. I wasn't expecting it to go this fast. They must have pulled out some stops. Docker Hub is famously rate limited, but not today. Maybe for pushes it's not rate limited, probably only pulls. We'll see if we get a gigabyte per second when we pull. Gigabit per second. I don't think it's really going that fast. Or it would have been done much sooner. Okay, we've got our Talos image. Where's that pull command? Make image-talos docker pull. Talos latest docker tag. And we're going to fix that. And then we're going to do docker push. Okay, so it's 10.3. Cozy spin. It is downloading pretty fast. That's nice. And now we can push. That one. And it's already pushed, but now it's tagged. So now we should have this Docker Hub Talos tag. There we go, pushed less than a minute ago. Perfect. So we're going to switch to our custom matchbox profile here. Matchbox serves up tail scale because we don't care if the maintenance machine is ready or not. It's in maintenance mode. It's going to load whatever image we tell it to. It doesn't really matter what it boots, except it should be relatively close to the one that we are going to run. Hopefully the same version, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. So we're going to run those same commands in order, except we're going to let's see, hack gen profile. Where's that? We'll run that one more time just to make sure that we've got the latest everything here. We want to make sure we have the tail scale. Yeah, and we do need to upgrade tail scale. That's good. So we got that. Then I think we just do the same thing we just did. Make update, make assets. It does look like it is building init-ramfs for us. I think that must be the asset. Is there a kernel as well? So I said I wanted to show us a couple of different rebase types. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to squash all those commits between where we started and where we are. So between our base on main, don't come on. Don't do that. between our base on main. There was a list of commits. They're just going to get squashed because I don't think they need to remain separate. Maybe we'll only squash a few of them. We'll look for the ones that are redundant changes, since we don't need redundant changes. We don't need to preserve things that are historical. This is a long-lived branch. The more complicated it is, the harder it is to maintain. So we're going to squash some commits in it. But we don't want to squash the fork at the end. We need those things to remain visibly separated. So we're going to actually merge them together so there's a clear end, and so that we have something to do as an example of rebase-merges, the bonus content that I promised in the show notes. I suppose I should read the make file and see what make assets actually does, so I don't just repeat those steps, because this looks like it takes a little while and it looks like it's doing some redundant work. I don't know. Thanks to everyone at Talos and at Cozystack and the whole Flux team for helping in each of their own respective compartments. This wouldn't be possible without any of you. I think the punchline is, if we read that make file, we would find that it's building a bunch of images we don't need. We only need one of those images to build our Docker push image. But we're almost finished anyway, so I'm not going to interrupt it. Hey Fiona, what are you doing? Doggies did not get out for a walk today. I'm shameful, but it was too hot by the time I got around to it. Okay. So we've got our init ramfs kernel talos installer to make now. I'm sure that we can make those things. And image-talos. And then we're going to do another Docker pull. And we're going to tag, I think that's how we tag them, dash tail scale. Yeah, we had another dash tail scale on the end. So we're just going to run all that stuff. And then we're going to do Docker push dash tail scale. Yep, it's definitely doing some redundant work, but that's okay. It's already overheating from the stream, so there's nothing to worry about, honestly. When this is done, we can update our definitions and start upgrading our OS and back our way into upgrading to the latest Cozystack, which I think will be a nice round out to episode 70. We've done a lot of speed runs. This is not the speed run. The difference between this and a speed run is, well, a speed run is much faster. This should have already been done if we were doing a speed run. And also, a speed run, we will tear everything down to the studs and start from scratch with a net boot. But I'm not confident that I have the net boot infrastructure set up properly. I moved from one file server to another because I had a drive failure and I got nervous, and so I bought another file server, and now I have two file servers, and I'm in completely transition from one to the other. And by the way, did I mention? I'm sure I did not mention yet. Maybe I did mention. I have a 70-day streak on Duolingo now for episode 70. Where did it go here? That's not it, is it? No, that's not it. Oh, well, I thought for sure I had a screenshot of it here, but yeah, I have a 70-day streak on Duolingo. I'm learning Greek. I'm going to go to Greece in a couple of weeks, possibly before I do another stream. So I hope I make it there and I make it back, and then we'll have another lovely stream. I can tell you all about it. So we see these have the same base images. The only difference is I'm assuming it's the bundle of all the extensions. Then we're just going to check the image size to make sure that the tail scale image is actually larger than the non-tail scale image. Right, it should definitely be a bit larger. So this one is 175 megabytes, and the new one is 213. Hey, stop licking that. Gotta lick everything. I know. You didn't get enough walk today. Well, maybe when the sun goes down, or starts going down a little bit further, we can go. Okay? Yeah, I know Boris wants to go too. Kate is away this week, so they haven't gotten all the walks. Alright, so we pushed that image. I think we're done here for now. Except I said we would do a merge, so let's merge these things in. We're going to merge this one into that one. Git merge custom matchbox profile, and we are actually going to resolve these manually, I guess. Because it should be very simple. Yes. We just say, yeah, we want that, right? Alright, so we've got a few things here that are helpful for Git purposes, for illustration. Okay, so we've got our main branch, we've got some other branches that we're going to ignore coming off of here. And then we've got a list of commits, which I'd like to squash most or all of them. And then we've got our little branchy mergey part. Okay? And what I'm going to show you now is how to do a rebase where you preserve that branchy-mergy part. Okay? Normally when you do a rebase, it flattens all of the branches. That's part of rebasing, is to get one parent behind each commit. But you can actually not do that if you have multiple histories that you want to preserve. Alright, so we're going to do a rebase-i for interactive. Okay? Rebase-i. And we're going to rebase on this. Okay, we're not going to go all the way back to main because we don't want to squash all these commits, but we do want to squash some of them. I would like to remove all this history of the last two releases, so we only see the latest release here. Okay, and we're going to do this with a command, rebase-merges. Okay, what that's going to do, it's going to show us the merge history like this with branch points. We've got a branch point, another branch, and another branch point, and then another merge. Okay, so I only want to change this history back here, but that necessarily changes the later history if you understand how Git works, because each commit is built on the previous commit. So if I'm wiping some commits out, here it shows me this one is empty, so we don't need that one, and that's going to fall out automatically, I think. We don't need, so we're not going to delete lines. We're going to change them to squash. So you can abbreviate. We're just going to take some of these commits here. I think that one should go up here and get squashed with those. Build complete. Bump imager. Okay, matchbox.tag. So we squashed some commits in between, we left some commits, we reordered some commits. I think that will all go okay, but we're about to find out. It's going to make a suggested commit message that includes all the previous messages. I like that. That looks pretty good. More squashed commits. And we do get one conflict here. Why do we have a conflict? What commit are we on? I don't know. Merge branch custom matchbox profile into merged branches. So this is the same issue we're going to blow these things away. Hack gen profiles. We're just going to rebuild that again. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, we see these are consistent. So we have added the tail scale module, so it should be here. And that is a legitimate merge conflict because it was before and it is now. We replayed that same merge, so we got the same conflict as last time. Okay, and we're just going to do our merge. And we remember we have to build a matchbox image too. Is that an installer? Yes. Okay. This one also has push equal 1, load equals 0, so we will have to pull it before we tag it again and push it. So don't always trust your shell history. Sometimes you're going to find a mistake you made. So this is just so when we have our Matchbox server up and running again and we can do net booting, we can take advantage of this image. I don't want to leave it out. I have a gap in my history. I already have enough gaps on my resume. Don't persecute me. Okay, maybe it was already pulled. It says we're up to date. Yeah, we built that image about a minute ago. Okay. So what did it say to do next? Tag. Because we have ZSH, we can do a multi-line copy and paste without worrying that some of the commands are going to run before we've edited them. I have come around to ZSH. I haven't found nearly as many things that irritate me as the last time I tried to switch. I think it helps to have an open mind. Okay, so now if we look, we should have a fresh Matchbox image. There it is. Great. So here's our Cozystack. It's running. Okay. How do we upgrade Cozystack? Well, first I want to make sure we have the latest Tom. We're going to read some Git history here. I want to see what have they done in my templates. What am I going to see if I do... Oh. There's a little bit of extra config here. CPU manager policy static. I wonder what that does. So we're not going to do a full Talm regenerate. We're going to leave. We're going to look for that extra config, and we're just going to add it manually because I'm assuming it's important here. KubeVirt needs CPU manager policy equals static to run VMs with dedicated cores. Oh, maybe I don't need that. We can get that next time when we wipe everything out. Alright, so we've got reference here to the latest Cozystack installer. We're going to check what is the latest version. I think it's 31.1. Yeah, there it is. Okay. See, they're also on 1.10.3, so we're in good shape. You can see it's not a very complex change from this perspective, but there was a lot of stuff that went into this release, believe you me. And we're going to edit our nodes directly because that's the easiest way to do an OS upgrade. Here is where that extra config would go. We've done some stuff here to our configuration to make this very special. And here we go. That's the one we're looking for. Okay, and we see we've got our one tail scale node. So we're going to do sort of a YOLO upgrade because I have status monitor and I can see how it's going, and if the lights don't go red, I don't feel satisfied. But they're going to go only a little bit red. We'll see which one has the hardest time recovering and which one has the easiest time. Hint, these are going to have the easiest time because they are spin modules and they run on the metal, not inside a virtual machine. So the virtual machines need the host machine to come all the way back up. I want to make sure that I'm driving this point home here. The virtual machines have to come all the way back up before they can serve as kubelet nodes. So they are very difficult to make the case for production unless we've invested heavily in our infrastructure at the top level and we can guarantee that it is high availability. I would like to see, is this thing cooling off at all? No, it's just getting hotter. That's really not good. I'm going to have to unplug it when I go tonight. But not just yet. Okay. I'm going to have to unplug my whole desk tonight, I think. So let's do the upgrade. One node at a time or all the nodes at a time. What are we going to do? Tom upgrade. Oh, I like that. We'll do it that way. Sure, why not? I don't know what order that is, but I think it's fine. It'll get us through quickly. That's all the nodes, and that's how we did it last time, so we're going to do it that way again. So one thing that we have, another nice convenience that you'll find in my dot files, is sort of a force drain. So this one is called here, that's the node name. We're going to see that it tries to drain for a while, but it doesn't succeed until something happens, and what we're going to do is make it happen a little bit faster. So we can call this drain script. Again, you'll find this in my dot files with the name of the node and the verb that we want to do. We're going to restart it. And it's just going to go through. First, it makes sure that the node is cordoned so that these processes won't immediately restart on the node. And it is already in the process of a restart, but now all of the things that run on that node are going through a rollout restart, which they would eventually, but the eviction is generous, shall we say? I don't know what you call it. It's so all of our Kubernetes clusters are going to have a little bit of difficulty, except for the one that we're communicating with at the top, because that is highly available. It's got three control plane nodes. Almost had 3 master nodes. Shame on me. We can see our Ruby service is already struggling. I can't say why that's the first one to go down, if that's just luck of the draw, or is it because it doesn't have spread across multiple nodes? That might be it. It might all be running on one node. But it should come back up before this node is done restarting, I think, unless I did see that we just stopped etcd. So the virtual machines typically in a Cozystack install would have more than one etcd, but since I'm already running high availability on the top level and I should have replicated storage, even though I don't. I really decided I don't want more than one etcd under etcd. It's too much for me, for my little home lab cluster. But in AWS, we'll definitely go all the way. We're going to do it the right way when we go on AWS. See, we're getting this failed to evict pod. That's holding up the cordon and drain. We might want to try this again. Turn off my camera before I start picking my teeth. Wow, I've been streaming for an hour and a half already. Have I got any viewers yet? Surely there are none. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's just me here. That's cool. I know that AI marketing guy said he's going to watch. I'm sure he'll tune in later, but there's a chance that he was just AI marketing. 9 out of 10 fans are in content marketing. They want to increase your subscriber count organically. I promise it is 100% organic viewership. We will drive to your... I haven't paid any of these people. That's why I still have no viewers. I'm sure it's not because the show is bad. It still says upgrading. How come we're not restarting yet? Alright, I think it's going now. It's ready to go. Remove shared IP. Yeah, okay. So someone else is hosting the control plane now. This guy. Enabled shared IP. Cool. Sent gratuitous ARP. I suppose that means one more than we needed. All right, we're stopped. Service finished successfully. So we haven't fully developed our storage configuration to spread storage across these 3 nodes. I think that uses extra electricity. I don't think I need it, but I'm going to do it anyway. At some point, and then I'm probably going to migrate off of this home lab cluster, so my office is not so hot in the summertime. I'm just asking for a hardware failure, running all these computers in here all year. Pushing everything to the limit. So, alright, so we see we're rebooting now. Hopefully it comes up with the new version. We can go huzzah. We can go huzzah, right? We can go, are we going to go huzzah? Make sure my hair's good for huzzah. We're booting. It says running. What version are we running? Kubernetes 1.32. What version of Talos? How come it doesn't say? The other one said. Talos API must not be up yet. Kubernetes is almost up. So in theory, we should see less failures as the rest of the nodes reboot, because we've already seen Kubernetes fail, and Kubernetes API of our virtual machine clusters is failing because etcd is down. When etcd comes back, it should be fine. All right, so we've got 1.10.3. Something is out of RAM. I wonder if that's one of our new VPAs. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I think we can still go huzzah, even though we're getting some cgroup out of memory errors. I'm not sure what container that is. I can't really see. It says Java. No matter, we've moved on to the next node. We're already rebooting another node here, so it's this one. So we're going to make sure it goes a little faster again by forcibly evicting through rollout restart all of the pods. Probably because we're not running the only instance of etcd, this will go a little bit smoother. Just want to make sure I don't see continuous out-of-memory errors, because that would be troublesome. In fact, I would like to communicate with the API server now to see what's wrong, because we undoubtedly have a bunch of stuff wrong with KubeOVN, which does not react well to this node reboot thing. Here we go. Keycloak. OOM killed. Alright. I think that's okay, because I think the next version introduces more, what do you call them? More vertical pod autoscalers. So probably Keycloak gets one. But we don't really depend on that Keycloak too badly. Anyway, I'm running out of steam. I kind of think what I want to do is walk away and just let this finish on its own. But I'm afraid there might be some things that go wrong along the way. And then I'm going to come back and look at my status dashboard and be unhappy. See, these things are still down. So I've got another command to delete all these bad-looking pods. One of the things that can go wrong is we have all of these pods fill up our available pod space. There's a limit to the number of pods you can run per node, and if OVN spams us with all of these container status unknown pods and we don't delete them, then we aren't going to have a good time either. Alright, well this is looking alright. I'm going to go get some more water because I think this can go for a few minutes without me. Actually, I'm going to get one of those beers out of my keg. The NA beer that I brewed. That's giving me yeasty, scratchy throat, I guess. Yeah, here we go. More node shutdown warnings. Here, we'll delete all those. Upgrading. All right, I'll be back. I'll be right back. Dog, come with me, dog. You could stay there if you want. Look at this nice beer. Cheers. It's a little bit overcarbonated, but not bad for my first homebrew. It does look like we're almost finished, doesn't it? Kubernetes is back, but not reliable. Oh, those spin though is doing great. Look at that. Website hasn't gone down at all. So clearly there is some lesson here. That is nice. Looks like all of our nodes got rebooted. This last one is coming back. They're all on 10.3. So I think our work is done here. Let's see one more time here. Is everything okay? Not quite yet. Let's wait for that one virtual machine to come up. Looks like Dex is online. The water monitor is still down. Let's switch to one of the other clusters here and see how is that water monitor doing, huh? What's wrong? Just need our nodes to be ready for longer than a few minutes. Looks like it should be back now. Yeah, it's back. Cool. Cool. So I think we're done here. Let's go back to the show notes, make sure I did everything I said I was going to do. Alright, so we got... we still have to do the Cozystack upgrade. Okay, now that our nodes are done. So we're going to see a lot of stuff recycle here, but the main event is, of course, the Flux upgrade. We should see the Flux upgrade happen. Get us on Flux 2.6.1. I'm joking, of course. It's the main upgrade for me, the Flux maintainer. There are so many upgrades in this version. I don't even know what they all are. Here comes our new Flux operator. See, can we see? What are they all? Can you even see all that? Probably not. Can see roughly how much of the cluster's upgraded so far. Lots of things are still on the previous release. But the number of not ready pods is going down. We'll go back up again when more upgrades proceed. The networking, I think, is the first thing. That would make sense. The networking is the first thing that has to be finished. Normally I try to work on this screen up here, but I already explained. That's why I'm looking down. That's why I probably turned the camera off. Maybe we can play another music before we go. We don't have to do it on screen, do we? I don't think so. Make sure we get the audio right for this. Here, we're going to play... I like this one here. I like this one. We're going to play this one. And then everyone applauded. Absolutely everyone applauded after that. Okay. And that was the whole story. I think we're done. What does it say? We're close. Some things are crash loop back off. But they might be okay if we just restart them. No, that one is not happy. Well, it's time to upgrade our Kubernetes. But other than that, it kind of looks like things are going okay. Everything came back online. Well, I'm going to call that a show. Thanks, folks, for tuning in. Have a